Ciao everyone, and I'm glad to be here and to give a report about the CPC Higgs combination. And here is my outline, and the first thing is that why and how we do the Higgs combination, and then I will do the, okay. We will change the. Shall we use this one?
The full screen? What's the problem?
We should use this slide.
Yeah.
Download it or not?
Okay, we can use this.
This is the one on the website. Maybe we have to download it.
Yeah. Let me do. Yes.
Sorry.
So. Refresh again.
This is the updated version.
Okay, that's the correct one.
Okay. Sorry for the buffering, and I will continue. And my outline is that why and how we do the Higgs combination, and then I will do a brief introduction for the Higgs to mu study. And as you are interested, I will do the comparison of the Higgs to mu study, the 3 Tesla and the 3.5 Tesla. And then I will show the results of the fit rate of the all the Higgs channels cross section times branch ratio. And I also will show the fit rate of the Kappa framework and do the summary. And first, I will introduce that why we do the Higgs combination. The thing is that we can provide this uniform and simultaneous statistical framework, and we can get the likelihood scan result, which is the most robust and reliable. And we know that in the individual study, we didn't consider correlation, but with the Higgs combination, and we can consider correlation, and we can fit the best implications like the kappa or the EFT or the other theoretically will be getting interested at. And also this framework has the extensibility to with the different systematic uncertainties or the theoretical assumptions. And currently with the Monte Carlo sample, we can fit the estimated precision of the cross-section times branch ratio, and also the Kappa framework, and also the other statistical result, and we may get interested. And also with the observed data, we can do more in the future. And currently, all the results are shown here in the NIAT CPCV1, and the central mass energy is 215 GeV, and the B field 3.5 Tesla. And here I will do the brief introduction for the fit techniques, but here I will point out for the nuisance parameter. Currently, we had assumed that the cross-section of the ZH process is 0.5%, and the luminosity uncertainty is 0.1%, but more nuisance parameters can be introduced in the future. But currently, all the results are all determined by the statistical uncertainties. And for the algorithm, we use the likelihood scan. Here we can see, and for each channel, so we can build the combined signal plus background PDF, and for the event number, and we can see we have the different forms to fit, like to fit the branch ratio or the cross section times branch ratio or the kappa, and they can also fit in the different forms. So here, after we use the combined PDF to make the Asimov data, and we can scan the likelihood and obtain the 1 sigma deviation to get the result. And here in slide 6, and here we listed all the channels tables, and now our CPC group we have studied, and all the channels, the results are scaled to the 5 autobar. And we can see to the Higgs to BBCCGG channel, the most processed channel is the Z2 So we know that the Z2QQ channel has the largest branch ratio, but here is more than 1 million in reducible background, so the precision is worse than the Z2 channel. And also the Z2 Higgs to tau channel, the most processed channel is the Z2QQ. And also for the WW channel, the most processed channel is the Higgs to WW channel 2 for hadronic 4 jets. And the Higgs to diphoton channel are also like this. And for the Higgs ZZ channel, we have 5 channels studied. And the most processed channel are the final states are all the 2 muons and 2 neutrinos and 2 jets. And for the Higgs to dimuon channel, the most processed is Z2QQ. And here in slide 7, I will introduce the treatment for the ZH background. We know that in the individual analysis, the other ZH process are targeted as the background. But actually, we can make some situations that the signal in one channel can be the background for another channel. And in this case, we should take into account in the combination. For example, the Z2 mu Higgs to tau channel, the main background is the Higgs to WW. And this WW events should consider in the signal strength of the WW channel. And here we can see the WW channel, the precision 1.2%, and how can be improved to the 1% in this way. And also we know that the full hadronic decay, the BBCC, GGWW, ZZ, all these channels are fully correlated, and we can draw the correlation matrix like this. And we can say in here, all these channels, the measurement are not independent. We must consider the correlations in the following fit. And here is another example for the WW fusion channel. And in this channel, we use the 2-dimensional fit. We use the reconstruction of the 2 jets, the mass, and the cosine theta of the dijet. And we can say in this 2 plot, the red line is the signal. But we can say the most dominant process is the ZH process. And if we fix the ZH process, the initial WW fusion error is about 2.9%. But this is not reliable since we must consider the uncertainty from the ZH process. So here we can use, since we have the combination likelihood model, we can constrain the ZH process from the other ZH process. And so here, and also we can find that here the new H Higgs to BB and the ZH Higgs to BB share the anti-correlation like the negative 46%. And this number in ILC is negative 34%. And so here in the simultaneous fit, we can have the WW fusion process, the precession about 3.1%. And this rate is also consistent with the individual study, which will be introduced by Liang Hao in the following talk, is 3.1%. And also we can get that the precession of the cross-section new H process is 3.16%. And here in slide 9, I will introduce the correlation of the Higgs weights. In pre-CDR, we can see that the weight is determined by these 2 formula, and the Higgs to ZZ process and the WW fusion Higgs to BB process. If these 2 processes are independent, we can get the precession of the Higgs weights that is 2.8%, which is equal to the pre-CDR result. But here we know that the Higgs weights is actually correlated to the water channels, and we must consider the anti-correlation we mentioned before, which would worsen the result. And so here we can say in the 10 kappa combined framework, we can get the Higgs weight precession that is 3.2%. And also here I will introduce the Higgs to mu study. We have studied the Higgs to mu study for the different Z decay, that is Z2EE and Z2 mu, Z2QQ and Z2 nu. Now for the Z2EE and Z2 mu, I will do it shortly. That the cut flow and the plot are like this. The background shape are all after the smoothing, and so that we can draw the signal and the background plot. And here for the Z2 mu process, and here we have the four final muons. So here we had to minimize this sigma to do the correct the Z combination and the Higgs combination. And here for the Z2 nu process, and the precession we can say is around 38%. And the Z2QQ, this is the dominant one. After the simple cut flow, like the dimuon process and the coil mass cut, and the precession is about 17%. And the channels combined, the result is around 6%. And so we consider the scheduled time, the CPC should be the first detector to see this process. And here we do the simple computation that 3 Tesla and 3.5 Tesla to the QQ mu process. And we can see the Higgs mass plot and the Z mass plot are shown here. And the events are normalized. So here we can see there is no significant difference in the mean value and the resolution. And for the processing, and we can see when the magnetic field is reduced, and we can see there are some events are lost in reconstruction or fail in the pre-selection. And so here we can after the preliminary study, we can see the signal and the background both reduced. So here the processing has been reduced 1% to 18%. And so here we can do the conclusion that there is a slight performance downgrade from the 3.5 Tesla to 3 Tesla. So here in slide 14, and we can see all the fit result of the current CPC channels. Here we can see the pre-CDR result and the current CPC result in May country and the RC 215 GV and the FCC-EE result. Here we can see for the IRC result, the CPC current result shows a better performance than the IRC. And we all know that the FCC-EE result has the excellent performance benchmarks than CPC, but we can see for the main channels there are slight performance difference like the BB and the CC and the GG, and the most processed channel of FCE is the Higgs to gamma channel, which is 3%, and our result is about the 8%, and this will be introduced in the following in Guofang Yi's study. And all these IRC results are FCC are according to this paper. And here I will, in slide 15, I will do I explain the difference from the pre-CDR and the current result. For the cross-section, there are minor update, and for the BBCCGG result, and since this is due to the different flavor tagging algorithm. So here the template will give the B like this and the C like this, and currently the updated algorithm has the next CC candidate events left. So here the CC procession is worse. And for the WW result, and we can say here the improved since the more subchannels are studied, and the electrical background contribution also contribute a lot. And for this study, and we see that the pre-CDR result is the extrapolation from the FCC-EE, and this result proved to be too optimistic, and the current study have the result of the 5%. And for the Tata channel, and the Yudang will introduce later, and we have the updated tau finding algorithm. And for the Higgs to diphoton channel, and we can say here for the diphoton channel, there are the difference due to the different estimation from the full simulation sample and the fast simulation sample. And we can say for the WW fusion process, and the current data, the 3.1% already consider the correlation of the WW fusion process and the ZH process. And for the Higgs to invisible channel, I would explain that in the pre-CDR, this result is we assume an exotic decay that is the Higgs to K1, and assuming the cross section is 200 inverse femtobar, this assumed study gave us a precision about 0.28%, and now we study the upper limit of the Higgs standard model Higgs to ZZ to 4 neutrinos. And this channel will give the upper limit about the 0.42% on the branch ratio. And for the Z gamma channel, and this is done by Yao Weiming, and give the 4 sigma result. And in slide 16, I will give the Kappa framework of the introduction. And here we know that the Kappa framework is a model-independent implication, and this can be the detectors benchmarks, and also considering to the new physics models. And Many theorists are very like this model very much. And in the CPC, and we know that we have the very wonderful constraint on the cross-section of the ZH process by the required mass method. And this can constrain the kappa Z in the very good level. And also for the production and the partial decay, and we can say the kappa are separated in the different places, and also in the kappa, where this occurs parameter that is the total weight, and we can resolve the Higgs weight or just keep the Higgs weight to the independent parameter. And so here the kappa, the kappa frameworks can be categorized as the 7 kappa framework also or the 10 kappa framework. And in the 10 kappa framework, the Higgs weight is resolved by the different channels, and we assume that is no solid decay the Higgs the weight of the beyond star model, and we also drop the branch ratio of the beyond star model invisibles, and we assume that the kappa mu is equal to kappa tau. So here we get the 7 kappas, and we can say the 7 kappa is much better than the 10 kappa because that we have the independent the Higgs weight result, and the Higgs result he is correlated to the all the channels. So here we measure the Higgs weight at about the 3%, and this will worth all the kappa measurement, and the kappa B, C, G are all listed here. And here in slide 18, and we list the result of the integration of the high luminosity LHC. And we can see the plot, and the most improvement one channel is the kappa gamma. And this kappa gamma are used as the result from the high luminosity LHC. That is the branch ratio ZZ, Higgs to ZZ, over the branch ratio Higgs to diphoton. And the result are listed here. And also we can do the comparison to the latest IRC result, and we can say we can say for the subchannels the CEPC showed the better performance than the IRC. So we can say in the most channels our performance is better than the IRC. But for the kappa gammas, our result is a little bit worse than the IRC, since that the IRC uses the more aggressive assumption of the kappa gamma, and they assume that the ratio is 2%. So here there is a difference for the kappa gamma. And here for the slide 20, and here we listed the correlation matrix for the different kappa framework. This is the 7 kappa and the 10 kappa. And for each entry there are 2 numbers. The upper one is the CPC result, and the lower one is the CPC plus the high luminosity LHC result. So here I will draw the summary, and here we can see what the fit result are listed in this page, and the updated result of the CPC the Higgs are shown, and we can see the correlation are taken into consideration in the simultaneous framework, and this result could be used in the CDR and the white paper, and we will continue to work further on this CPC Higgs combination framework. Thanks. And in the following, and here I will list some backup slides for the individual analysis if you are getting interested, and you can see more in the following reports by my other colleagues, and also you can refer to these slides. Thanks.
Thank you very much, also because you managed to take less time, so we can have a few questions here.
Thanks very much. It's really nice to see how all this fits together, and particularly the correlations between the different channels is a very important issue. I wondered, is this something that you could explore more about the detector resolution? You're looking at different field options. I'm particularly interested in the calorimetry resolution at the moment. I was wondering if you could explore how that affected these fits. You could, for example, you wouldn't necessarily have to resimulate. You could just try adding a small extra width in quadrature to see what impact it had.
Do you mean we should import more nuisance parameters in our fit framework and to see the different impacts?
Not so much a nuisance parameter, but something fixed which just smears the jet resolution and sees how does the fit degrade with it would be informative.
Here, if we have the Monte Carlo samples, and we can do the different study and like the different assumptions, like the ECAR, the resolution, and also the other parameters.
I mean, a full job resimulating a worse ecal is clearly a better thing to do, but a quick and dirty study just smearing a bit the results you have would already be.
Yeah, and we can do the similar job in the existing samples, and we have done this before, and this can be a good example, and we can do this.
Single sample possibility, but we can also add some systematics, maybe to the jet to make it see the impact of this.
Yeah, so what you mean is changing the inputs, basically, not just treating it as a nuisance, but really having in the inputs parameter that you put in for each analysis, the one dependent, for instance, on the calorimeter to have different, yeah. I guess possibly you could do it in two ways, but this was, if I understood the suggestion, I think it would be interesting to see. Again, in the spirit of connecting the detector optimization with the results, it's a step forward. That's very nice to see this type of studies. Any other question? And if not, I think we can thank the speaker again.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.